Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite written Rit Ralph talking to you straight from our show, Apple Bites, where we take a bite out of the apple and share it with you. And right now we have the Christmas apple, the ho 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 of things, the Merry Christmas boo hoo. Yeah, I know I'm crazy, but you guys signed up for this. We got James and Cliff here about to hang out with us, and we're about to talk about Christmas ghost stories, and you might hear a couple from us as the night progresses. Folks, well, Cliff, James, what are you guys up to for this Christmas?
For Christmas, a lot of the usual, getting together with family and eating a lot of food that I'm going to pay for later, and giving gifts, and hopefully taking some downtime, the usual stuff. And if I can sneak a Christmas ghost story in there somewhere, that's always a bonus.
So let me ask you this: when you guys are together, the family's all together, what makes you? Do you guys have your own Christmas ghost stories?
Oh, that's a good question. We don't really have our own Christmas ghosts, but we do tend to go, tap into the go-to greatest Christmas ghost story of all, A Christmas Carol.
Love A Christmas Carol.
Particularly in the adaptation of it in Scrooged with Bill Murray.
I like Scrooge. Scrooge is a pretty good one. Is that your favorite one?
It's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do enjoy Scrooged. I have fond memories of seeing that when it came out in the theater, and so it's been a little bit of a Christmas tradition for us for many years.
And because I gotta say, I keep wanting to go with different ones. Alistair Sim seems to be the one for me. I saw it; it was great. I love his transition. He does an amazing one, and I feel like everybody else after that has tried to copy his transition from the miser to the good guy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that seems to be influential. And I'm trying to remember. I think there was one. I haven't seen it in years, but I think there was even at some point a Mickey Mouse version of A Christmas Carol.
There is. Yeah, okay. I watch that one every year.
Do you? Oh, okay. I think I saw it when I was a kid, and I've never come across it again. So I wasn't sure I was remembering something.
Oh no, you're remembering it. It's a good one. It's Scrooge as Scrooge.
Yeah,
which is perfect casting. Well, technically speaking, I hear that Scrooge was made to be Scrooge from the get-go. That's what they had in mind for him from the beginning. And I gotta say, one of my favorite ones is the Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol.
Oh yes, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I watched that one every year. It was hard to find because for a while there you couldn't find it anywhere, and they stopped showing it on TV because again, it was one of those things that I saw when I was a kid too, James.
Yep.
I saw it once as a kid or a couple times as a kid because back then they would show it over and over and over. Then they stopped showing it, and I was like, okay. Then for a while I was like, was that a fever dream?
Exactly. Is that real, or did I just fabricate it in some way? Yeah. But I think the other one I like a lot is another popular one, the George C. Scott version.
I love the George C. Scott version. It's one of my favorite ones. But I think what happened was we read it as a script in school, and we took the whole class was doing it, and it just there's certain parts of it that when you're reading it, and it just sounds completely off. Like he opens his robes and goes, "Look at these," and I'm like. Ever since then, every time I see that scene.
Yes, if you can't see the starving children huddling around his feet, it takes on a different connotation.
Because that's what it was. We were kids, and he opens his robe and goes, "Look at these," and the class went crazy. So, Cliff, what's your favorite one?
I missed the initial question because I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh, what's your favorite Christmas
I saw
Carol?
you gesturing and you're emoting on your faces, but that was it.
What's your favorite Christmas Carol?
My favorite Christmas Carol or favorite Christmas movie?
Well, Christmas Carol. We're talking Christmas carols right now.
Oh, Christmas carols. Oh boy, you put me on the spot.
I was saying that I liked Alice Sim. We were talking about Mr. Magoo, and we were talking about the Mickey Mouse one, which is a pretty great one. I think another one that I would have to mention is the Muppet Christmas Carol, because he does a great job. Because he said that he was going to do it straight, and he wasn't going to break character, and he doesn't break character, even though all the craziness is happening.
Which makes it even better.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Oh boy, I thought we were going to talk ghosts. So that's sort of like I was.
Well,
sort of
this is the precursor. This is where all the ghosts come from.
This is true. This is true.
Well, technically, because the ghost stories were around way before that too.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's always been ghost stories.
Yeah. Well, Christmas ghost stories. See, that's what I was like. The reason I brought this back was because these things were huge. The reason that Dickens does what he does is because there was already Christmas ghost stories that people were sharing before that, and then he told his tale.
And it's still with us today.
One of my favorite things.
Yes.
Because even It's a Wonderful Life is a version of that whole thing, and it's definitely a ghost story, even though people don't see it that way.
Well, it definitely is, and I think it's clearly a descendant of Dickens.
Oh yeah,
without question. I mean, it's almost the exact same thing happens when he's being shown, the alternative universe, the alternative future.
This is the world without you.
Yeah. Which is it's profoundly existential. Obviously.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that worlds is, I think one of the things that's beaten out of us is the fact that we matter. One person makes a difference, because they don't want you to believe that one person makes a difference, because that goes against what they're trying to do, because they're trying to control us.
Mm-hmm.
So if they allow us to believe that we can make a difference, that's not going to go well.
No, you're right, and you're almost opening up a Pandora's box.
Oh, I open up this box all the time.
Really? Of all the times I've been on the show, that box has not quite.
Well, we haven't gotten to the conversation, but we're here with this whole bits and pieces of things, and the whole message from the Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life is the whole concept that this person's life, all the things they're doing, kind of affect all the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
And all the and we don't believe that, and we don't see that. But if we're really looking at it, and if you pay attention to how life is, you can see what you've affected, the people you affected, the things you've done that have caused the other things to happen, the chain events to happen because of one thing that you might have done.
Yeah, he was totally tapped into. It was a larger spirituality that was not necessarily as much in the zeitgeist then as it is now. And he's really sort of talking about the butterfly effect, and what touches one and ripples through everything else, and we're not even aware of it. But this whole everything is connected, everything is one, sort of runs through all of that, and it's really it's kind of interesting. When you think about what Capra was doing, he got away with a lot of stuff. And not necessarily subversive, but he was sort of able to sort of present a sentimentality that just about every other storyteller just can't get away with. It's if you really think about what he's doing, who can get away with that last line where the bell rings?
Exactly.
Daddy. Teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets their wings. If I wrote that line, people would laugh me out of the.
But it's funny you're saying that, because that's where we are right now, and this whole mentality that wokeness is something that's happening in the moment, when it's always been there. It kind of bugs me out.
It's been demonized now. It's really what it is.
They've taken the word and they turned it into like a curse.
Yeah, and and I'm not, people are just really easily offended. But I think at the heart of it, we talk about wokeness or whatever you want to call it. It's really not a bad thing.
No,
it's
the definition of it is not a bad thing. Which
No,
what bugs me out, it bugs me out when he went in the other direction with it, because I'm like, dude, you do know that being that is not bad, because you're actually looking out for each other. You're actually paying attention to each other. You're actually, I don't get it.
I mean, the thing, I don't know. To me, I mean, I think about it, linguistically. What does it mean? To be woke is be awake, and to be awake, and I guess to be awake is to be enlightened.
Yeah.
What always bothered me about it, because I mean, I've been in a higher education, is when people sort of go around announcing that they're it. That's what's always sort of bothered me.
Oh, I don't like those people either. The ones that give themselves the title.
Yeah,
I am woke. I'm like, no, because you said that. If you say it, you're not.
Exactly. I think it's just really, sort of embodying a certain way of being and a certain way of bringing yourself to the world. And I think you talk about Capra. Well, yeah, I would say if he were alive today, I mean, he's his sentiments are really conservative, but I would say that he would consider himself woke as a universal, humanist.
Oh, definitely.
How could you take him as anything else?
It bugs me out though, because Mr. Rogers was a Republican.
Yeah,
but he believed in a lot of beautiful things, and his own Republican people now are like, hey, he was woke.
Exactly. He was probably the definition of it. You put him, in the encyclopedia and have the picture of him next to it. Because
Dude,
he was.
I give that man so much credit, because of him, I was able to understand and grow and become a better person, because he allowed children, he allowed us kids to actually have a say in what was going on, and let us know that it was okay to feel what we were feeling.
Okay to feel what you're feeling, and okay to be who you are.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, what else, when you boil it down and take away everything else, what else is there?
Yeah.
But the freedom to be who you are as an individual.
Which is what they're always trying to take away from you.
Exactly, which kind of goes back to the original thing you were saying. They of, as my sister would say, they of the They Institute.
Yeah.
Well, if I can jump in for a second, I just thinking to bounce on something you were saying, Cliff, about the line from A Christmas Carol to It's a Wonderful Life. It's interesting to me, thinking about it in this context. In A Christmas Carol, Scrooge is isolated from the hope.
Yeah.
He's miserable. He's the cause of a lot of misery, but the Cratchit family is still fundamentally hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
His nephew is still fundamentally hopeful. In It's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey is the source of the hope, because a big thing that you see when they show it's Bedford Falls, right?
It's Bedford Falls, yeah.
Would be like without George Bailey. All of a sudden, all these people who were good, positive, helpful people have turned mean and cynical and rough. Yeah. And it's kind of saying what you were saying, Ralph. One person, whether they know it or not, can really influence a society or a community or a group. Like Mr. Rogers, he was just this force for good and reassurance, and for patience with others, and being open and things like that. And I think he probably influenced thousands, if not millions, of people just by being that guy.
Yeah. It's always amazing to me how many people like for a while, like when he was still alive, for a while, people would get embarrassed by the fact that maybe they saw it, or the fact that they liked him. And I find that as time has progressed, with everything, now people are like, yeah, I liked Mr. Rogers, and I'm like, that's not what you said, dog.
Who didn't like Mr. Rogers?
Really cool to like Mr. Rogers now.
Oh no, they would say it back then, but nobody says. Well, certain people say it, but
It's interesting what you're saying, James, just in terms of George Bailey and
Yeah.
what happens if he was, if he never was to be. And what it's really saying is he's sort of this, like the threads of hope that woven through the entire community. And as soon as he was extracted from that, like you said, it becomes his name's Mr. Potter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes like Mr. Potter's world, and because he's really sort of the inversion of hope.
But it's funny because if you look at it, it's the whole concept of Scrooge. When Scrooge is being Scrooge, he's being Scrooge himself as well. When Cratchit and him are in the office, he's in the office as well as Cratchit, and he's telling him not to put the coal because we this is what we do. This is how we save money. This is how we make money. This is how we make our money. Is that we stay like this. And as you watch Scrooge, you can see that he doesn't have extravagant things. He doesn't, unlike Potter. Potter is like completely different. You can tell that he lives well. But Scrooge, when he's living, he's not really living. He's just saving all this wealth, and he's not doing anything with it, not even for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Potter is definitely a member of the They Institute.
Oh, definitely.
Scrooge managed to escape.
And it bugs me out because I've seen some people try to defend Potter because capitalism or whatever, but dude, this guy does underhanded things. It's not like he's a good guy and then they're making him into a villain. He does his actions show you who he is, which is what I don't understand. Like people look at this guy and they go, well, you got to understand. I'm like, no, his actions show you who he is.
He does the most underhanded evil thing. It's like rooting for him is like rooting for the Cobra Kai.
You got to understand.
I mean, I can understand the kids being, manipulated by that sensei in the Cobra Kai, but I can't see rooting for the Cobra Kai. It's like rooting for the Empire.
And it's funny when we come to this point because it's something that I like to talk about a lot is creating, writing, making a good villain. And I feel like some people think that you do this evil caricature of villain to make a good villain, but no, the best villains are villains who have come from us, who were like us at a certain point. Who and if you look at Scrooge and as you watch his life unfold, he was just one of us. And then stuff happened and it changed him. And one of the things that changes him, one of the reasons it becomes like that with money is because when he's a child, his father's in debt. There's, I don't know if you guys have read the whole thing, but there's other stuff happening. Sometimes they cover it in the movies, sometimes they don't. And he's coming from that, and that's why he's trying to hoard all this stuff because he doesn't want to be at that point where he was with his father, with his family. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to be able to have that money, but at the same time, he's at the other end of it because he has that money. He's not using it for any reason. He's not even making his own life better.
Yeah, it's you kind of meet people who grew up in the Depression and they have that same kind of mentality. And it seemed, it had a profound effect on people, and they become, like mentally and emotionally like hoarders when it comes to money, with this just deep-seated fear of it going away.
Definitely, and that's what it was. He was scared that the money would go because it had gone before.
Right.
Here's our friend over here saying Scrooge wasn't a villain. He just didn't see the world the same way. He worked in the cold just like his employees, like what we were saying. He was going to work Christmas Day, and he expected his employee to work Christmas Day because he was going to work Christmas Day. So he didn't see the reason to give it to him. I agree. The whole thing. Yeah, I completely agree. It's exactly what we're talking about.
And there's
he wanted people to work hard.
No, big difference between Scrooge and Mr. Potter.
Oh, totally different.
Yeah. No, you can't even.
With Scrooge, you also have a sense of vulnerability that he's protecting. In a way, he made a choice at some point to hide in his work, in his money, accumulating his money growing his fortune as a way to avoid having those entanglements or having to, expose himself emotionally to family, to, relationships. You don't get that sense from Mr. Potter. From Mr. Potter, you get a very different sense that he's really projecting. I think it's even, there's a line in the movie that goes right to it where, George Bailey calls him a small man, and he's a small man trying to project being a big man.
Yeah. And that's what villains do.
Yeah.
They try to be something. They think, or they start off doing something, and then they get corrupted, or it becomes something totally different. Because most villains do not see themselves as the bad guy.
No.
Now, what's the old line? Nobody thinks they're. I'm going to paraphrase it. Nobody ever thinks they're doing wrong based on their own vision of the world.
Right. It's like everyone's the hero of their own story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And I gotta say, like when you create your villains, when you guys create your villains, where do you bring them out from? Because I know I tell people all the time that the hero's journey can go one of two ways. Either you become the hero or you become the villain. But you start off most of the times following the hero's journey. So where do you guys pull your villains from?
Well, James, you can take it away, and I'll stew in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of what we're talking about is you look for somebody, or look for what makes a character opposed to a hero. And then really within the context of a story, the villain is the character, the antagonist. It's the person, the character opposed to the protagonist or the hero. And so they have to have a different perspective or background or motivation or goal of some kind that sets them apart. They can even have very similar goals and just like feel that the means should be different. I think one of my favorite villains, it's a comic book character, Magneto.
Oh, I love Magneto.
Is a brilliantly, over the years that he's been written, has been brilliantly portrayed as someone who has an altruistic vision, who sees himself as a protector, a freedom fighter. He just disagrees completely about the means to the end and is willing to go places that someone like Charles Xavier is not. So it makes him an interesting character because, yeah, he's a villain, but you can almost sympathize. You can kind of feel like, yeah, he's a villain, but he's got a point, which is when it gets scary, because then you start to say, well, wait a minute. If I can agree with this character, am I a villain too? Or what sets the non-villains apart from the villain? And then you really start to get into their head. And so I always look for that kind of mix when I'm writing a villain. It's what is their motive? What differentiates them from the hero in this story? And you always have to remember that they have to be human, right? You've got to give them some redeeming characteristic that reminds people it's just another human person who's going down a dark path.
It's interesting because I think about my new book, Ralph. There's sort of obvious villains because there's a few different layers to the book. There's a kid who's this really talented artist, and he's also working for a crime ring. But the real villain in the story, and this kind of goes to, we always talk about Joseph Campbell, you and I, the whole idea of allies and enemies. The real villain in the story is like presents himself is the owner of the pizzeria where the gambling ring is running. And it's a father figure, and the protagonist has never known a father, and so kind of gets taken under this guy's wing, and he in many ways seems really supportive of what Jesse, the protagonist, wants, but really he's keeping him trapped in this it's not a massive criminal enterprise, but it's certainly a path that this guy should not be on. And so on the surface he looks like an ally, but really when you dig a little bit deeper, he's an enemy. And these
Yeah, it's one of the things you got to do. You got to be careful for the people around you.
Well, that's just exactly it. Yeah, it's real nice to make money and to be sort of looked after in that way. Like you've got a father that you've never had before, but ultimately, if he's preventing you from, he says he wants you to be on this path, and he wants you to be, another Leonardo. He's Italian, so Leonardo da Vinci is sort of, his idea of, of ultimate artistic genius. But if he's keeping him trapped subtly and manipulating him subtly into staying in this place where it's not the path he ought to be on, that's enemy territory.
Just to show you guys a little bit of what Cliff is talking about.
His boss Angelo.
And it's funny because these are the little things that I don't think people really think about, but these are the little things in our lives, and I think that's what it is. We don't really think about them because it's things in our lives that cause us to do certain things, and sometimes the bad guy is doing something because he's getting something from somewhere else, like this. Like considering never had a father figure, which is what usually happens with some of these things. All of a sudden you have this father figure, so you'll do anything for that father figure will lead you down a different type of path.
And often the wrong one, and that's sort of the heart of the book. And then the other part of that video is the girl is Taria, who she breaks his heart a third into the book. Like it's never been broken before. Is there any worse enemy on the planet than the girl who breaks your heart? No. But then ultimately she is his biggest ally. He just doesn't realize it as these things are unfolding.
I gotta say, and I always like diving deep into how we create our characters, what we do with our characters. And let's catch Jesse up a little bit. Jesse, you know what we are, you know what we're doing.
I don't. I'm sorry. I was definitely stuck in traffic.
No, I know. I just wanted to make sure that in case you heard or whatever, I didn't repeat everything.
Thanks for having me in late, guys. It's great to meet you.
No problem. So of course, we're doing ghost stories, Christmas ghost stories. So we started diving into the meat and potatoes of all this, especially because a lot of this comes from Dickens and the Christmas Carol and his ghost story. And, the fact that ghost stories were around from before him, it's just that he was able to take this. And it's funny, the story is that he needed to make money because he had another kid coming and he needed to make the story happen. And that's where all this comes from. And he took all those bits and pieces and put them into the story, as we do as writers.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of cool to hear that was born sort of from his real life Bob Cratchit moment.
Oh yeah, because he was in debt, and they were coming for him, and he needed a hit.
Right.
And it's dude, it sounds like it's a story waiting to happen.
That's awesome.
So Jesse, let's start off with what we were talking about before. Do you have a favorite Christmas Carol?
The Christmas Carol is
I'm talking about like the version, like the Alistair or the George C. Scott or the Mr. Magoo.
This is going to be silly, but Mickey's Christmas Carol.
We were talking about that.
Probably one of my favorites, and obviously the Muppets.
We were talking about that one too. The Muppet one is fantastic.
It's gorgeous.
Speaking of Muppets.
Nice.
That was a great segue.
Right.
So Jesse, the Mickey's Christmas is your favorite. Why is that one your favorite?
I think just that version of Scrooge. He was already such a capitalist and like disregarding of other people's emotions in DuckTales. So to see him to see that kind of elevated and put into this archetype, I thought as a kid, that was genius. And it just always resonated with me. And that version of the three ghosts, I think also hit me hard as a kid because like I was seeing these characters in a very different light. And then to see them as, past, present, and future kind of rocked my world when I was a kid. And yeah, put a little bit of a creepy spin on some characters I'm used to seeing on my TV in a very different way.
So let me follow up with the second question now,
Okay.
which is, we create our villains, and I know you have your villain from your book.
True.
So how did your villain come to be?
My gosh. So far, only issue 2 into the book, you don't know the villain yet. You have a sense of this impending danger that this world presents, and the villain is only kind of hinted at as just the system by which this utopia operates. Everything's peaceful, everything's great, but why do we have to dig underground in these ruins to like make sure everybody up top, stays warm? So the system itself is kind of oppressive and overbearing in a way. And then later on, we'll meet a character who is the archbishop of this. What's a good word for it? This community.
Okay.
And this archbishop, he kind of holds the knowledge and the secrets of this town and like make sure everyone stays safe. But he keeps things really close to the chest, and he's hiding maybe more than we would like him to. So it's a villain. I'm hoping once he's revealed, we'll talk a little bit more about him. But I'm hoping he kind of comes off as a father figure to our hero, at the same time kind of competing with the hero's real adoptive father. So presenting sort of this duality of like, oh, this guy gives me the information that my adoptive father doesn't give me. There's something I kind of like about that. I'm learning more about these mysteries, but it's all from sort of a manipulative place because he has to sort of keep this village in line. That's sort of the main villain we're presented with at the beginning of the story. It ends up being like, this is only a lieutenant for a much bigger concept coming later.
I like what you're doing because you're not throwing the villain in right away, and you're working with a broader concept, because now the system is the villain.
Yeah.
And you don't have a person to look at, so you got this whole system to deal with.
Right.
And you're not giving it all that is bad right off the bat. You're giving questions.
Yeah, and he initially presents as like a very thoughtful and kind and benevolent leader of this village. But the way he's kind of oppressing people, it's like, why are these the people he's oppressing when those people want good things for everybody else? What's the game? And that's kind of the big question of the first part of the story is what's the game? Who's really behind, who's pulling the strings of this archbishop?
James, let me ask you something before we catch Shannon a little bit over here. I'm going to give her a moment to settle in. You've got many stories. You're out of all of us, I think you've written the most. And you've created many villains for your many books.
Yes.
Do you seem to have like a certain preference to the villain, or are your villains more all over the place?
That's a really good question. I've never thought about it so much in that sense. I generally will create villains to suit the story. They kind of rise from the environment of the story, the setting, from the character, the protagonist, the main character, kind of what is, the main character is going to have goals and going to be attempting to do things, and who are the most likely people to get in their way and create problems for them. And I guess I've written supernatural villains too, as opposed to just human villains. And supernatural villains, when I write them, I like them to not always have motive or goals that are entirely understandable by ordinary people. I write a lot of cosmic horror, and I feel like there's that element to cosmic horror of, this is terrible, these villains are absolutely horrifying, but we don't really quite understand why they're doing everything they're doing, and that mystery helps. I think when I'm writing human villains, it tends to be I tend to lean into more base motives: power, control, greed. Um, you know, wanting to enforce their will on other people, that kind of thing. A little bit of psychopathy there. You know, you can have a lot of fun writing those kinds of characters.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I just bounce around and really try to find what works for that story, what makes the most sense, who is this person's most likely rival.
So I got another question in my head, but we're gonna go to Shannon and we're gonna bring her into the fold. and Shannon, we've been talking about. First, we started talking about A Christmas Carol. So we'll ask you: is there a favorite Christmas Carol that you have? You know, and of the many different Christmas carols there are. Jesse said it was Mickey Mouse. Cliff, did you say which one was yours?
Well, I didn't understand the question at first, and then I just
Okay.
went on a tangent from "It's a Wonderful Life," so I'll just keep it there because it's close enough.
Well, It's a Wonderful Life is a Scrooge area type of thing.
Yeah, so
And
I'm
James-
obviously good at that.
You said what?
I'd probably go with Scrooged.
Nice.
That's what I remember. so Shannon, do you have a favorite Christmas Carol?
So, I was actually obsessed with A Christmas Carol. I've probably seen every version ever made
Same
out
here.
there. Did you see the one with Susan Lucci?
Yeah.
I love that one. That's not a favorite though.
I was gonna say I'm surprised.
Not a favorite. Scrooged, if you're going like the creepier route, I would say is definitely a top tier Christmas Carol story. But I have to agree with Jesse. The Mickey Christmas Carol, that was my favorite one, and I would watch it over and over and over again. It's just very nostalgic for me, I think. So that one is like a good cozy one. So if you're going for spooky, Scrooged. The other way, if you want a cozy, then the Mickey one.
I gotta say, Scrooge, as funny as it is, it's kind of horrifying.
It used to scare the crap out of
Yeah.
me. Like that one part with the window, like
Oh, because they go
Those
hard in
eggs.
Scrooge. They go really
Well-
hard.
freaking Bill Murray.
That's one of the reasons I love it. Is that movie breaks my heart every time I watch it because of one character in that movie, and I can't remember the character's name at the moment, but he's the sweet homeless guy
Yeah.
who is in there. He's at the shelter. He's in the movie, and then later, you know, spoilers because it's been out for like 30 years, so I don't feel like I have to worry about
How
that.
dare you?
He's shown literally frozen to death.
Dude, that's what I'm
under the-
saying. Scrooge goes so hard. They didn't have to go there, but they go there.
And that movie more like I love the other versions, and there if I want the traditional, like you said, the cozy version,
Yeah.
I'll watch those. But if I really want to feel that message, that scene breaks my heart every time I see that movie.
Mm.
And it just reminds you that, you know, there's such a thin line between life and death, and
Oh yeah.
then it takes you, you know, then you laugh. So you know you don't,
Uh-oh.
but
Wait, is this my end or is this everyone else?
Okay, what are we listening to?
I don't think it could be everyone else. Can it be everyone else?
we can hear.
Or is it
you.
just me?
Everything
Sorry.
sounds golden here.
Yeah.
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Hear you.
I didn't mean to interrupt. The whole screen just went like,
Okay, it could have just been a glitch.
So I
We
didn't know if
thought
it
you were
was-
talking about the supernatural.
Yeah.
I'm like, it can't be just me. No, because everybody froze. I'm like, am
Yeah.
I the one that's like, is it me? No, it can't be just me.
Oh man,
Sorry about that.
no problem.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
It's live TV, folks. Stuff will happen, especially when we're talking ghosts.
Ghosts. Yeah, it was like good timing.
So let me ask you all this: why ghosts? Why this fascination? 'Cause it's been there for a long time. You know, Christmas ghost stories aren't a new thing. Dickens did not create them. You know, why ghosts? Anybody can start.
I feel like I feel like personally, in my own opinion, like for like Christmas tales, you mean? Like why?
Yeah, for Christmas tales.
I think that it was a time of reflection, and so like ghosts aren't necessarily like spirits, but it's kind of like analogies for things that they wanted to maybe let go of for the year or take into the new year, and um you know made scarier for to scare lessons into kids. Like we still kind of do that,
Yeah.
like Santa's watching, you're gonna get coal, Krampus is gonna eat your soul, we're gonna call Shannon. Like that's my take on it. I think it's just like a time of reflection and going forward. That's me. Is
That's
that
a
what
good
you
one.
were asking?
Yeah, you actually
Okay.
you hit it really well on the nail. Anybody else want to add something?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a big part of it. The other piece of it, I think, is it's the time of year when maybe death feels closest because the days are getting shorter, the harvest is done, we're going into the winter, it's going to be a lean time. Just going back, digging past modern times into where these traditions might come from, and people feel closer perhaps to the dark side of things, the spiritual, world, or the world of shades, and this sense that maybe ghosts
Hey, Blake.
are closer. Like we say on Halloween, the veil is thin, and I think it gets thin around this time of year too, in that sense, or people perceive it too. And so they start to think about those things, and that's maybe not the cause, but it kind of contributes to the direction that reflection takes. It's, what's out there haunting us, what do we have to now live with until the warm days come back and we can go back out and be busy with our lives.
I agree, because it is a time of reflection. We're going into the new year. Like you said, it's this. The 21st is the shortest day of the year. All of a sudden, 4 o'clock, it's dark.
Yeah.
You gonna say something, Jesse?
No, I'm
Okay.
just
I saw you like motioning. I was like, okay.
I would bring a different kind of.
absorbing that because I think since yesterday, I just got back from DC. We went to see this amazing show. Some friends of ours got tickets for us because they were like, "This is literally the best thing on stage we've ever seen." And it was a show called Ho Ho Ho, Ho Ho Ho, Ha 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 Ha.
I like it already.
And it was incredible. It was literally like this thought experiment where it's a one-woman show, and the premise of the show is she solves your problems.
Wow.
She solves the audience's problems, and it was very ethereal and surreal, and she did it with like the least amount of words possible. And I've never seen anything like it. And I've grown up in theater and film, in some of my background, so I'm very picky about what I choose to go see, whether that's Broadway or wherever, or even like local theater here in Jersey City. And this was just like, I've never once heard myself say, I want to go see that again, for anything on the stage. But this was like, we talked a lot about the winter solstice, and that show felt like it was like lifting the curtain a little bit about like, you see the machine elves like cranking the wheel of like our existence, like what is really happening behind the curtain, and you felt a little of that in this show. It was pretty wild.
Where was it playing?
It was playing at the Woolly Mammoth Theater in DC.
Oh, okay, not local.
No,
Just
local.
at Jersey City. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just now landing back from that, and we probably want to go see it again. I think it's coming through Connecticut next.
That already says a lot.
And I'm
Once
like,
you want to see it again.
I'll drive across state lines to go see that again. But anyway, long ramble short, with very minimal words, and with like her training in schools of like clowning, I feel like she pulled things out of people to the point where like the entire audience was having a conversation without her, and truths was like being revealed, and like, this is cool. This is really neat. and how cool of that to happen on the day when like every single culture since like the dawn of time or consciousness has considered this moment of the year sacred. No matter what, religion, domination, culture you come from, there's something sacred about this time. And I think this is another little tangent, but I think it's something in us that comes close to the surface, like this veil that maybe we exist within ourselves is also probably thinner this time of year. It's a little more like our true selves may be closer to the surface.
I hear what you're saying, Jesse, and if it goes back to a little bit of what Shannon was saying, where the whole of the Santa Claus stuff. If you think about it, it's all this stuff that we're already thinking about, especially during this time of year. And Santa can see when you're naughty, he can see when you're nice. He's watching you, and I feel like there's times where we finally like sit there and we look at all this and go, I don't think that whatever it is I'm going through is not being seen.
Well, I guess I'd throw, just picking up on your question, Ralph, and picking up on what Jesse was talking about, just in terms of sort of the universality of the solstice and what it sort of means going all the way back to, right? It's the sun returning, right? So it's a metaphor for hope. And I guess on some level, the idea of ghosts being entwined into this time of year and the stories of this time of year, ghosts represent, sort of the consciousness always continuing, never dying. So, maybe they're sort of rooted in that as well.
Agreed. And I got to say, I don't know if you guys saw, but on Stonehenge, when they were doing the whole thing, a black cat appeared. And I took that as a great omen. A lot of people were like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Nah, man.
It's all good. It's all good."
Exactly.
So long as the black cat didn't break a mirror and walk under a ladder, I think.
Exactly. Leanna's joined us. We're gonna catch you up a little bit. We've been talking so far about A Christmas Carol, and we'll start you off with. I had a feeling. We love A Christmas Carol. We're all talking about it, and all the ghosts and spirits that come with that. So, do you have a version of the Christmas Carol that you love?
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
There we go. See,
the best Christmas Carol. I'm sorry, but it is. I have the correct opinion. So yeah, absolutely. And
we agree with you. Yeah.
To be fair, too, it does use more of the original text than any other adaptation. So,
which is funny to say.
It is. And what I love about it as a writer is, as the credits are rolling, Gonzo says, and if you like this, you should read the book. It sends you off with the appropriate Sesame Street message, right? But I think that is why I think, listening to your conversations earlier, I do think that this time of year, the idea of the reckoning that happens within Christmas Carol, which we could use a bit of that right now.
I agree.
People being scared into doing the right thing. We could really globally use that right now. A rich guy like hoarding some wealth, being scared by spirits into doing the right thing. Yeah, no, please, this is very of the moment right now. So I was just talking about this with the wonderful friends at Morbid Anatomy. Andrea James and I, we were telling some stories from America's Most Gothic. And we were talking about generational family curses, things like that, tropes within our latest book. And the idea of how necessary right now, the ghost as the reckoning figure, and making us consider our lives, making us consider the fragility of our lives. And are we living our best life? Are we doing right by those around us? All of those kinds of things that ghosts kind of threaten us with, because they make us confront our own mortality. And sometimes it is a reckoning spirit. That's whether it is folkloric figure like you're talking about. So many of the really interesting folkloric figures of whether it's the Yule cat who's going to eat you if you don't have nice new clothes and haven't done all your spinning, or if it is one of my favorite Germanic ones is Frau Perchta. She's a very scary kind of Lady Krampus figure who had been like Berchta. She was a shining, beautiful goddess figure, but she became this witch figure in the early Christian church, and she will slit your belly open if you don't do all of your like work and have your house clean. So I'm sorry, I'm totally getting disemboweled by Frau Berchta. But it's an interesting, like, all of these figures are there to sort of be like, do you have your house, community, spirit in order? And I think that is very interesting as we come to this time of year. I think we are all really thinking about that because it's almost a predicate for New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, you're getting ready. You're remembering things. You're dealing with your past, just like Scrooge is dealing with his past, because he has to deal with his past to understand his present and make sure the future is different. And I feel like a lot of people just look at it, especially Christmas Carol, and then they kind of like lessen it because they've seen so many different versions, or they don't really dive into it. Like we were saying with Scrooge, they really went hard. They didn't have to go that hard. It's a comedy. They didn't have to go that hard, but they go really hard. It's just that they make it kind of funny.
Well, I think I think the humor helps the impact. I think in all cases, I think the Muppet Christmas Carol also, the humor helps the impact of it too. And
even Gonzo and who is it? Rizzo?
Rizzo. Oh, Rizzo. Yeah.
There's a certain part, like I think when the Ghost of the Future shows up, they go, we don't need to see this. We're getting out of here.
We'll see what the finale. They peace out. And they're like, and Rizzo's like, "Is this okay for kids?" And Gonzo's like, "It's culture." I love that it is there. There is in the original the idea. Now the Muppets don't deal with the skeletal, the underneath the jovial Christmas present. There's the skeleton of want and ignorance. Those little skeletal figures underneath the cloak of the very jovial, very pagan, by the way, Ghost of Christmas Present. The Muppets do not go with the skeletal want and ignorance. That's like a level of the text that they do not at all engage with. I'd be curious if they did, because that would also be.
They got skeletal Muppets. I've seen them before. So.
I mean, I was gonna say, just bring the Skeksis in from Dark Crystal, and but I feel like the real text of Dickens is going very, very hard at people. And he's also doing it in a way that's actually very secular, even though it is a Christmas Carol. But he's still appealing to it on almost just humanitarian basis, without invoking much scripture, without he's really is trying to kind of create a secular examination of this end of the year reckoning.
And it fits because we were just saying that at that moment in his life, it was falling apart. He needed this to succeed. He needed this to be a hit. He needed the money.
He needed the money. Oh yeah. And he did everything. He was utilizing every aspect of the Industrial Revolution to his advantage. And the same year that he published Christmas Carols, so 1843, that was the same year that the first commercially produced Christmas card happened. So we also then see with Christmas Carol and the idea of the Christmas card and the idea of like what was happening. I mean, as a New York City tour guide, I have to say New York City helped create like Christmas in terms of commercial Christmas. All of these things are happening of like, how can we use this holiday of gift giving and use it for a material advantage too? And all of that is actually kind of tracking.
Yeah.
Which is very funny because it also kind of goes against the whole point of Christmas Carol. But
definitely. But isn't that how it always is?
Society, right?
Society is a funny thing.
They look
Yummy here is saying, I would guess that one brings the past and future together, people who died from the past, and that we will eventually pass away to keep magic alive by using supernatural forces. And I agree with the magic aspect of things and all what she's saying there as well, because I feel like I was saying this earlier. I feel like they keep trying to beat out of us either the idea that we can make a difference or that magic exists. you know, because they don't want us to do anything. They want us to just be mindless drones.
There was just, I was listening to this podcast the other day, and it was talking about magic, and you know that magic is real. And the guest on it was saying that, I forget the word, the number he was using, but he said something to the effect of that possibility of magic not existing is like 1 in like 100 trillion. You know, he just kind of presented this, and it was sort of fascinating and funny at the same time. But yeah, I mean, it's all it is just manipulation of energy. And when you think about it that way, and I had, you know, when I was in graduate school, I had this very traditional professor. He said, well, eventually everything's going to get proven by science in one way or another, and magic's just another element of it that will be, you know, just what lens are we looking through to understand that manipulation of energy.
But Cliff, it bugs me out because they want you to believe that because we've taken the curtain and revealed magic, that magic doesn't exist. No, magic exists because you just told me that you opened the curtain and showed me what they were doing that was magical. They're still doing the magic. It's just that now it's not magic because we know how the trick is performed. But I'd rather know the trick, you know, because it's a magical thing. And the idea of the magical thinking is like, I don't know, this thing that needs to be gotten rid of.
I think too that the supernatural is just a physics equation we haven't figured out yet. I mean, when you look at like really deeply into things like theoretical physics, it sounds a lot like a ghost story. The idea of phasing in and out of walls or whatnot,
Yeah.
like it's all. I don't think the sciences and the paranormal or magic or any of these things are at all antithetical. I think it's all just different languages, and it will eventually, you know, sort out, and we'll eventually be able to figure all of this out. But there's still going to be warring tribes about it because we can't ever,
Definitely.
as a species, agree on stuff.
I am right, you are wrong.
What would, you know, the people 150 years ago think about, you know, an iPhone? That would be
Witch.
You know, exactly. Burn her.
It's the Moonstone.
He healed us. He must be a witch.
In the early days of Zoom, everyone was talking about how much of a seance it was. Of like, can you hear me? Is anyone there? The idea of like trying to gather people for a Zoom meeting is just a seance.
If you can hear us, knock twice.
No.
That's great.
I gotta say, I've been enjoying this conversation of the supernatural and ghosts, and like I've said earlier, ghost stories are an amazing way, and I think that's why they've been passed down from generation to generation. You know, because they tell a good story. They kind of scare us. They want you to be the good person that you're supposed to be. You know, because I feel like what ends up happening is everything's taken away from us that tells us we should be good. And you know, like, you know, it's almost like, yeah, you don't have to be good. You know, nothing's gonna happen to you. I'm like, okay.
I don't know that I've heard that. I've heard to be good, and I choose to do bad and be evil.
There's a path for everyone.
Right?
Agreed.
You're here
I'm
to
a
represent
kind, evil
alternative
person.
paths.
I'm a kind, evil person. Like, I'll trip you so that you fall so I can laugh, but then I'll make sure you're okay and buy you a candy or an ice cream.
You sound like a New Yorker.
Exactly.
I know.
Well,
There
it's
you go.
it's the whole conversation we were having before about the villains. You know, the villains are the hero of their own story. To them, it's not villainous. It's
No.
It's fun.
It's
Yeah.
so there you go. Right.
It is fun.
Dude, my favorite villain is Dr. Doom.
Hey,
And Dr. Doom, he sits there
that hurt.
and he goes, all right, I can fix everything. You just need to bow down to me. Because I know what I need to do, and you guys are stupid.
Yeah.
And if you
That's
listen
right.
to it, you're like, he's making sense.
He does make a lot of sense
Itchy.
sometimes.
You know, and that's the idea that, you know, and again, that comes across because in Doom's mind, he's not a bad guy. He's trying to save the world. He's trying to fix everything.
Well, and he's got such a great backstory with his mother and the sorcery and black magic
Yep.
and all of this stuff that, you know, he's coming as a villain. He's coming from a place of personal trauma that
Mhm.
you can almost empathize with him on certain things. And then, yeah. So, I mean, he's really a great example of a well-rounded villain.
Yeah.
I feel like that's most villains. There's most,
most of them.
villains. They always have that moment where they're like almost human.
Sometimes
That's
you
me
can tell
on,
that
like-
if it went the right way, they'd be the hero.
Yeah.
It's
That's right.
insane.
If all those meddling kids weren't foiling their plans, they'd be on top.
I miss doing my Velma sometimes.
Is it the laughing joke where Joker says, like, you're just one bad day away from me to Batman?
Yeah.
Isn't that it? Yeah.
I love that concept of that type of Joker because, you know, it's kind of, it makes sense because a lot of people are one day away from doing something stupid.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily want to encourage that in the population.
Right.
Like, I don't want to give people that kind of pass. You know, there was the
But
first.
see, that is not a pass.
Well,
Because
with
you
the
shouldn't
idea
be
that
doing
everyone
it.
is that close, I don't think that everyone is that close because I think we would have a lot more, like,
See,
truly.
but that's what makes it different, though, because what needs to happen is you need to decide for yourself whether that one bad day messes you up or you learn from it.
Right.
I think that more people choose the I'm not going to become a supervillain today.
I
think,
agree.
and that is what I try to, that is what I think is laudable, is that I think people, every single one of us has a falling down day, to reference another film that deals with like somebody just at their limit. Everyone has those moments. And I think that that's we are so driven in our current culture to respond to rage bait click articles on the internet that we forget that most people are actually just doing their best, just trying to I think that some of those ghostly reminders, for me, going back to ghost stories, which a lot of times are ghosts are reminders of things that went wrong, can be there as a little bit like literally sort of signposts towards that. Hey, let's make sure this isn't you.
Yeah, I think it's a nice reminder of like checking in and self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's fun going back to the hero's journey and the fact that that hero's journey either leads you to becoming the villain or the hero. This moment that Leanne is talking about is that moment where you either become the hero or the villain. Do you take what's been given to you, rise above it, and become the hero that you're supposed to be? Or do you take this bait and then go with it and be the villain that it's gonna make you?
Revenge. Retribution.
I think, Leanna, I want to know how many people do you think would make the opposite choice if they had superpowers?
Ooh.
Like, do people just choose not to become the villain because they were never doused in cosmic rays and have no
That's a good question.
superpowers? Like,
That is a good-
if
that
we
is
had the
good
power
question.
at that
Yeah.
point to take revenge, or would people go bad? Because there's a price to pay for choosing to be the villain, and it's a steep price in many cases. So it's, in a lot of ways, it's just a more sensible solution to pick the other path. But if you could, if you were invulnerable or something, would you go the other way and just let the rage out?
I think that is such a good. I think that is such a good question, and I think that is. I look forward to seeing you explore that in your work, because I think you would write about that very well.
I feel like you're always a villain or a hero, depending on which side you're on. So that either way, you can't have it just all one way.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul.
Hey guys,
Oh, good to see you.
Hey,
Paul.
Merry
Paul.
Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy
Hello.
Holidays.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry
Happy
Christmas, Paul.
So, Paul, now that you've joined us, and we're gonna throw you into the fire. And first of all, we all started talking about A Christmas Carol, of course, it's Ghost Stories. So, what's your favorite version of the Christmas Carol?
Oh, that's an easy one. Can you hold on a second? I'm starting my streaming software. The easy one is it's Muppets Christmas Carol. It's the best one. Michael Caine was in there. It's awesome. I mean, the music is just incredible. It's like
Oh, that's great.
we watch that one all the time. It's the best. Second is definitely Patrick Stewart, and the one after that
I love
is,
Patrick Stewart. Yeah,
or not Orson Welles, George C. Scott. So
Yeah.
That's a good one.
that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
I think the Muppet Christmas Carol is definitely in the lead, though. It's got
Yeah.
the most.
Yep, Muppet
You know.
Christmas Carol is winning right now, folks.
2 for 2.
Paul, you can jump in on this. What is your favorite Christmas Carol? Is it true? Is it the Muppets? Will the Muppets win the night?
They should.
We've got a pretty big.
even if
lead
they
so
don't,
far.
it's still my favorite. I don't care what anyone else says. So it's all right.
No, our opinion is correct.
Yeah, it's in my top 5. So
Oh my God, I forgot. You told me Shannon's on. I'm leaving this floor. Bye.
I think he just saw the puppet.
He's got all the freaking Chucky again. Oh my God.
Oh, he has a new friend.
Oh
You know how long
no.
it took me to
You
get
got
over that
two
one?
of them
Shannon?
now.
They're multiplying? Oh my
Yeah, they're
god.
multiplying.
Oops.
He has
Oh,
a new
no.
one.
No.
Oh, yes.
I like how she goes, no.
No.
Oh, yes.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
oh my god.
Why are you multiplying them?
I'm growing my family.
You mean your army?
Exactly.
Exactly.
If I see a news report of an army of dolls, I'm going to know exactly. I'm like, oh well, she is in her supervillain era. Okay. She warned us all. Mark her words right now. I do believe her.
So
This-
we're all gonna be watching Paraflix, and she's gonna be at a haunted house,
Yeah.
and she's gonna be doing some chanting, and all of a sudden we know where this is going.
I just wish I could talk, like not talk, but make him talk. You know,
Do the ventriloquist act.
that's why TikTok is great.
Yeah, you should have seen the video. I sent it to Paul.
I
You
love
sent
it.
to me. I don't remember seeing it. I'm sorry.
He's
Oh.
got a cute little. He's so fancy. Cute.
Oh, he's got a
It looks like you're making people.
Ooh. Yeah.
Very happy.
Sometimes I wear his hat.
It looks better on you.
It does kind of like have a little bit of a look to it.
Yeah, it's a jaunty little hat.
I don't
Yeah.
hate it.
It's very Black Canary.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah, it is. Definitely.
Yeah.
It might be. For
reminds
next
me of the
photo shoot, you might want
Terrifier.
to go Black Canary.
Little Zatanna action in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Satana.
Definitely.
Oh, that'd
Zatanna.
be another one that she could do.
Oh yeah.
You heard, Shannon? Go Satana. Be the magician you are. Folks,
Okay.
we are also going to be doing our own Christmas ghost stories today. James, Shannon, when do you want to start today?
I don't want to go first.
There you go, James.
All right. I guess that means I'm up.
I'm going to give you the floor. Here we go.
So I should give a little context for this. It's
Definitely.
a Christmas horror story. It's a little ghostly, but it goes in a bit of a different direction at the end, that I wrote some years ago for an anthology of Christmas horror stories published by Dark Regions Press. And I decided with this one that I was going to go with one of my favorite Christmas carols as inspiration for the story. So I'm going to read just a little bit from the beginning, and then we'll see if everyone can guess which Christmas carol inspired this. The story's called The Evergreen. Christmas came cruel that year. Having spent weeks in town shopping, the man who called himself Master Wenzel arranged wrapped gifts beneath the balsam pine he'd ordered cut from the edge of the woods, then bid me light the candles he'd pinned to its branches. Satisfied, he settled under blankets by the window overlooking the manor entrance to watch for his family. Beyond the short gravel tongue from the front door, though, a blizzard erased the world outside. Bells of Christmas played on the phonograph while snow fell and wind howled, and we awaited arrivals I knew could never occur. Resigned, I visited the pantry to refresh our tea and brandy. Moments later, he cried out for me, "Neil!" His wood-crack voice jolted me so that I spilled boiling water on my hand. "Neil, come fast!" Biting back a groan at my endless ineptitude in the kitchen, I wrapped a tea towel around my blistering knuckles before dashing to his side. He stood wiping the fog from the window with an embroidered handkerchief. "Look, there's a man by the trees." I squinted until, by an inexplicable trick of nature, the gray, burdened clouds parted and permitted silver streaks of moonlight to caress the earth. In their watery illumination appeared a man, bulked with a long green coat. He dug into Winter's blanket for wood, which he gathered to his chest. His gangly legs carried him spider-like among the drifts, and the clumsy movements of his arms reminded me of inchworms and caterpillars. "Who is he, Neil?" "I don't know, sir." The man's hood hid his features, yet a creeping sense of his awareness of us observing him set my hairs on end, as if his unseen eyes perceived us and his muffled ears heard our every word. He flickered in wind-driven snow squalls. Who could he be so desperate on this Christmas night that he collects wood wet from the snow? The master said. I'm unsure, but perhaps the man who lives in the cottage by the old church with the fountain. St. Agnes's church. Yes, St. Agnes's caretaker. That's who it could be. Poor devil. Although I admire his determination, still it pains me to see him suffering the cold while we sit here by the fire and Madame Wenzel and the little ones enjoy a Christmas feast at the Waldorf Astoria while your son and his brood is... Neil, I'm sorry, but I've forgotten your family's plans this Yuletide. The same as yours, undoubtedly, spending Christmas sheltered from the storm. My words rang true enough in a literal sense. Yes, and we shall celebrate with them on the feast of St. Stephen when all this terrible bluster and snow expires. Perhaps we should invite the man in. He leaned to the window, smile faltering. Damnation. He's gone. Swallowed up by the storm. He's going to have a devil of a time warming himself with wet wood. He resumed his chair and blankets. Play bells of Christmas, Neil, and be swift about it. I've been waiting all night to hear it. I restarted the record for the third time that night, then fetched the master's tea. When the record finished playing once again, he fell deep asleep. I extinguished the candles on the tree, and then placed 3 logs on the fire to fight the chill that blanketed the house, so much of it closed for so long that properly heating the open rooms remained a constant challenge. Tucking 2 blankets around me, I reclined in a chair by the hearth. As I lingered on the cusp of sleep, melancholy transformed the wind's lilt into the voices of my daughters, singing carols as they had as girls, so bright, so musical, when Christmas had ignited in them that special fire of wonder that burns only in children, so very long since I had last heard them. Later, the master's booming voice awoke me. Up, Neil, he said. We have an errand of mercy to perform. Throwing off my blankets, I lurched to my feet. The master stood framed by the window, spectral in the dying firelight. I reached for a fresh log to throw on the flames. Forget that, Neil. Gather our coats and meet me in the pantry. What is it? You know better than to dawdle, man. Do as I say. He splashed the contents of his mug onto the embers, raising a cloud of hissing steam, then stamped from the room. I soon joined him in the pantry, where he worked at packing much of our Christmas provisions into 2 wicker picnic baskets. He wrapped an entire cooked ham in wax paper, then loaded it alongside tins of creamed herring, cranberries, olives, and plum pudding, boxes of cookies and biscuits, and 3 bottles of spiced wine. He bade me carry it all to the garage, an awkward task with my injured hand, and load it into his favorite vehicle, the Bulldog. There he met me with 2 canvas-bound bundles of wood, which I stowed with the baskets in the trunk, while he threw open the carriage house doors, letting in bitter cold air. The storm has paused, Neil. We must help that caretaker who lives in the cottage. And I'll stop there.
Very nice.
That's
Very good.
They do not, I will just say, they do not find what they expect when they complete their journey.
I didn't think so.
I bet not.
I was
So,
wondering
any
which way you were
guesses
gonna go
on
with
the,
it, and I was like, okay.
What's that?
I was wondering which way you were going to go with it. And I was like, okay, let's see what this goes.
Yes. So just a sample, but any guesses on the Christmas Carol that inspired it?
Nice. 'Twas the night.
Very cool. I thought Leanna might get this one at least because it's a pretty obscure older Christmas
Is
Carol.
that a God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen reference?
It is not. It is
Ooh.
Good King Wenceslas.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah. I thought I was like, it's one of the, yeah, it's,
Yes,
it's one of the elder gods.
It's one that's safely in the public domain.
Yeah.
It's amazing what's in the public domain. And folks, if you're looking for things to inspire you to write, you can go with that. I know I've talked to you about this many times on the Written Writ. Working in somebody else's sandbox is a good way to get your juices flowing and become a better writer.
Well, I mean, that's one of my favorite Christmas ghost story that I ever wrote is a sequel to an Edgar Allan Poe story. So yeah, it's that. If we have time, I'll share it with you.
If you want to read some of it, you're more than welcome to.
Which Poe story is it sequel to?
The Oval Portrait. So
Oh,
yeah, sure. I mean, if you're
okay.
game for it, it's pretty short. I'll read a few pages and we'll see if it's like 4 pages. So
We got a little bit of time.
we got a bit. All right. So the Oval Portrait is a story where an artist is obsessed with his new lovely young wife, and he paints her. And he's so obsessed with painting her, he does not realize that she's actually passed away. And so this story, it's a very, very short Poe story, and it's only like a page and a half, and then it ends with the artist realizing that she's in fact dead. So to dovetail something that Shannon was saying earlier, I wrote about revenge. So okay, so this is called Not More Lovely Than Full of Glee, and it's in an anthology called A Winter's Tale: Horror Stories for the Yuletide. So it is in fact on point here. It was said that the artist had abandoned the fine house in the mountains, that richly appointed chateau with a turret where countless rooms stood silent, adorned with art and colored glass. Rumor had it that the cellar was an open pit, and the upstairs floorboards creaked and thumped. It was said that he'd left the village haunted after the untimely death of his young bride, but then again, the peasants below were full of superstition. It wasn't that anyone had seen her, but the disappearance of her lovely Glee was a haunt in reverse. The absence of a once beautiful treasure was the living's own ghost to bear. She was talked about. Her memory had life, and in it she was again not more lovely than full of glee, as the very mention of her made the elders smile. Then they'd cluck their tongues and ask the rhetorical question of what had happened to her. They knew in their hearts, out, brief candle, she'd been snuffed. It was Christmas time, Christmas Eve to be specific, when the artist made his way back to the sorrowful site in hopes that the season of peace and forgiveness could create an alchemical change in his heart and his fortunes. What better time to reckon with the past and turn a new page, a heart made pure as the mountainside under a fresh blanket of undriven snow. When the artist's driver reached the end of the lane, the old man hesitated. "Go on, sir," the artist assured. "I'll walk from here. Turn around, get that shivering mare into a warm stable. I'll be all right." He unleashed his leather case from the back of the carriage. "I'm home again, and I have to make my peace with that." The hunched driver crossed himself and turned his hack sharply, murmuring a benediction for the artist's soul and something about her that became lost in a gust of wind. The chateau loomed ahead at the end of the tree-lined lane, its form like a skull on the edge of a cliff. The last of the day's light glinted off eye-like windows, and the land below was ushered swiftly away in a sheer drop. With a crunching tread through deepening drifts, the artist made his way forward. He glanced up at a noisy blackbird grumbling in a treetop, noting that the branches arching above him had begun to gnarl and knot, claws in a tangle. A warning from the morning halted him at the property's wrought iron gate, which yawned open at the latch. He recalled the woman in the train bench in front of him when he handed his ticket over to the conductor and said what town he'd be stopping in. She turned around, mourning veil nearly entirely obscuring her wrinkled face. "Take care there, my son. Yuletide or no, it is a place of curious endings." These words had chilled him enough to make him reconsider his return. He had opted not to go through the town and up the rugged pass, but instead continue on the rail north and take the higher road privately back. He was sure he'd paraded through the central pass. There'd be whispers and cruelties spoken not enough out of earshot. His sorrow was heavy enough without gossip weighing it further. Stepping up the overgrown flagstones to the hefty carved oak front door, the artist noted the glass on either side was broken, the lock forced. He shouldn't have been surprised that brigands took evident shelter here, assuming the place was abandoned. They hadn't been wrong. After the funeral, the once romantic nest had become as silent as the lily-marked grave down below. The artist didn't dare look down the side of the mountain at that valley churchyard. The only comfort he could muster was what he hoped to still lay ahead, hung on the walls inside, his art. Once inside the foyer, he struck a match to light the front braziers, then struggled with the resistant wick of an oil lantern. In the main hall were his vast landscapes, ruins, abbeys, castles. Up the curving stairs were the faces, patrons, scholars, nobles. They were works of great renown, each a captured flash of fervor and obsession. Now here they were his witnesses. He hadn't stopped painting during his time away. He did have to eat to survive, and there were no other skills to which he was suited. But looking at these pieces here, remembering them again, feeling them in his fingers, as if he were still sculpting the paint into just the right texture, nothing he'd painted of late had the life of these earlier works, and nothing, of course, had the life of her. Perhaps that's why all the art had been left alone, deemed haunted. I'll stop there if you're curious about how she takes her revenge from beyond the frame.
That's great, and that's a deep cut Poe story.
It's a deep cut Poe story, but it's one of those things where I was like, wow, the idea of a haunted painting as a narrative has been an obsession of mine since I first read the picture Dorian Gray. And so I was like, oh, this is a haunted painting narrative. Like he's literally painted this woman to death. Her life force is in that painting. What happens when that steps out of the frame, when she's amassed herself enough? Because the concept of this for me was like, what if the folklore of what happened to her is what revives her? It's the words spoken about her that allow her to step out of the frame she'd been painted into. So perfectly to your point is, yes, by all means, use pull from the greats. And I had the audacity to be like, I'm going to write a sequel to an Edgar Allan Poe story.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
And I like when people do this because D&D has taught me this. I mean, because D&D you play in other people's worlds.
Mm-hmm.
At first you start creating in these other playgrounds, and it kind of helps you as a writer because now you're beginning to understand how these guys have created their worlds, and it lets you play in these worlds and understand the rules and all the stuff that's happening, so that you can create in your own world and use the understanding of these rules to create your own rules.
And I was very honored when Pseudopod, that wonderful podcast site that also has a website as well where you can read the texts, they very kindly did a Gothic duet where they posted Edgar Allan Poe's oval portrait and then reprinted Not More Lovely Than Full of Glee below it, so you could see them back to back. So I'll put that link in the chat because it's for free to read online. And I was very, very honored that I got a byline with Poe. I was like, amazing. You know what? If I do nothing else in life, I can.
That's a win.
That is a win. So Shannon, are you ready?
Yeah, I don't know if it's ready yet, but it is what it is.
Don't worry about it, Shannon. I'm in the same place. I've destroyed mines 5 times. We'll see what happens. Go ahead, Shannon.
Okay. Alrighty. Oh, here I am. The damp didn't stop at my skin. It crawled deep into the marrow of my bones. Winter didn't want fingers or toes. It wanted something darker, something owed. The sky was dark gray and snow was spilling from the clouds like fine cotton. It seemed that even the woods would hold their breath. Livestock froze mid-step. Memories would lie. Fires, red carols. None of it mattered. We needed to pay the debt. I went home to home whispering of a great exchange. On the eve of Christmas, I said, hunger could be traded. Once. Forever. They listened. They always do. The hall smelled of burned holly and damp cloth. Stockings were stitched from the burial shrouds swayed in the wind. We can be gods, I told them. But gods demand a sacrifice. They arrived one by one, shoveling through the snow, neighbors, masters, rivals, and servants. Their faces were hollowed out by hope. They sat at the empty tables. The rum was sweetened with nightshade, hemlock, and honey. They needed not taste death right away. Sorry, I lost my spot. The horror wasn't in the dying. It was in the silence that came after their heads hit the wood. Thud. 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 Their eyes stayed open, searching the rafters for answers that would never come. I began my work. I didn't want only the meat. I wanted meaning. I dragged them to the center of the square, stacked them in a spiraling cone. A tree of people. And then the bells. Hooves slicing through the sky, a sleigh cutting through the snow heavier than the storms. Kringle had arrived. The snow was falling again this time. It was crimson where it touched the pile. I sat at the base, eating sweetbread soaked in the master's wine. The wind stopped. His gloves, centuries old, reaching for my offerings. He did not give. He collected. I had been good. I followed all the rules. So he fed, and I fed. Each life I had taken brought another year. Blood kept the wheel turning. Their sacrifice kept the sun from failing. I would pack my tools shortly, leaving the sound of grinding bone echoing behind me, because another town waits. Another winter waits. Another offering waits. You know, I always loved Christmas best when the snow shines red and the woods are quiet enough to hear the trees breathe. That's my poorly written, really fast, not done.
No, that
I
was
skipped
powerful.
parts because it didn't make sense story, and that's why I paused, because I'm like, I can't say this.
I think
That
that,
was
was
powerful.
I think that was great and harrowing in the best way.
There was like so many like different like ways I was going with it, and I was like, I am just dark inside. Like,
It has a
and,
nice poetic feel, which I really like the poetry of it.
Thank you. Thank
And the
you.
imagery, like, I grew up in the woods.
Yeah.
Same.
As much as, like, I'm from New York City, I also grew up on a farm in the woods. And that captured what that feels like in the winter.
So
That's
yeah, I have family in Pennsylvania in that kind of environment, and I've been watching nonstop for like the last 4 years old like Victorian style like movies, like supernatural movies, but historical ones, and like all the things. And I just was watching Wolf Hall this week, and so I was kind of like in that time. So
Leanna's like, woo!
Only when they show up to Morristown, Shannon, I'll make sure I'm not here. So,
so So yeah.
Yummy says if you all ever feel overwhelmed, remember that Poe's shortest poem is
I
deep
love
in
that.
earth. My love is lying, and I must weep alone. That's it. The entire thing.
Thank you.
And it's just so true too. Like that's just Poe. It's just poor Poe. That's just his life.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Dude,
It's just
that
so
gives me
real.
like so much anxiety. I don't know why.
oh, it is. It is. Like I was gonna say, like I heard James and Leanna read, and I can see they've been reading for a while, because there's a lot of little missteps that I take when I'm reading,
Yeah.
and you guys seem to have figured out how not to take. you might have flubbed one here or there, but you guys were pretty good.
I have read, because it's a short one, I have read Not More Lovely Than Full of Glee aloud probably more than any other of my short stories. So that one is one. And it is definitely, if you're a writer and you have not taken a theater class, I think you should, because it's all of my theater training comes to bear anytime I ever do something like this. So
those two things definitely very much benefit each other.
Yeah.
For sure.
My training was reading to my kids. That's when I started to get good as a reader, was reading to them. And, they wanted the voices. They wanted me to, put some life into it. And I just kind of went with it. And
That's the first theater.
yeah.
well, and kids are the brutal audience too.
Oh, yeah.
my God.
So if I didn't get the
Carolyn,
voice
didn't you?
exactly right every night in a row, I heard it.
I know exactly. My daughter will be like, "That's not the voice she did last night."
Yes, that's not how Mega Man sounds.
They will keep you sharp.
Oh my God. Yummy says, of note, I'm super proud of you all for not only writing and sharing, but reading it out loud. Mad props. And I gotta say, and the reason that I mentioned that is as much as I read my own stuff, because I've done it for the show, and I do it for I'm constantly reading it either to myself or out loud or in front of you guys, or recording myself, because I was like, well, here's the story, guys. But let me ask you this, because you guys have done it, and you guys do it, and I know that Shannon does that as well. And I know people think when we do those little videos that show us reading it and we do it in one shot, they're like, oh my God, but folks, I'm sorry to tell you, that is not one shot.
Nope.
That's
No.
true. I should share my bloopers.
So how do you guys not get lost or not get, because it's very hard, especially when you're like Leanna, like when you're and James, you guys were passionately into your own stories. I feel like once you get into that passion of your own stories, those are the moments where sometimes you lose yourself in your work, and you're like, because you know what your words are, but sometimes we don't know all the words because it's just the way it is. How do you keep it going? How do you keep it flowing?
I try to not get ahead of myself because I am reading a text.
Mhm.
It's a difference than performing it live memorized. That is a different skill. In the moment, it is my duty to not get ahead of myself in the text, because the minute that I do get ahead of myself, that is when I will fumble over a word. So being very much in the moment and making sure that I am trying to not be tense right through here, so that I'm breathing well and that I'm focused in the moment. And because I get even in any moment where I am doing a public speaking at some point, I'll get a little bit of stage fright. I'll get a little bit of nerves because I care so much about what I'm doing. And I think I think you can harness that energy. And I think that all performers of any kind can harness that energy into making that an energetic, compelling thing, that it's part of the energy that is hopefully attracting people's attention. So I just try to kind of stay in the moment as best I can and make sure that I'm letting the words lead, not necessarily my performance leading.
That's hard to do. And it takes a lot of practice, folks.
I find posture is a big deal. I mean, because if I start reading from a script and I'm not like fully engaged and breathing,
Mhm.
I'm like this, like, okay, then I start flubbing all over the place. And that's where I say, okay, sit up straight. Don't be stiff, relax, but make sure you're breathing entirely. It's a silly, stupid things like that really make a difference, So.
Yeah. I I agree with both. Yeah, I think that's all right on the money. And then the piece of it that I have found, at least in recent years, is that I kind of think about it as, this is going to sound a little weird, but I kind of think about it as a conjuring. I'm trying to conjure a mood.
Mhm.
I'm trying to keep the people, the audience engaged. And if I've chosen a good piece and I'm doing it well, I can almost feel where they're waiting to hear what happens next. And when you stop, if you haven't read the whole story, the best thing is that you feel like there's a sudden no, keep going kind of. But it's about everything. I do the same thing. It's a text. I'm reading. I don't get ahead of myself. I really try to stay in the characters, but I'm also trying to deliver it, or I guess that's the performance piece, in a way that is evocative and conjures a mood and gets everybody kind of in that web for the time of the reading. And sometimes I don't know if I'm successful or not. I mean, really, that's for the readers to decide. Nobody's ever come up to me after a reading and said, "Oh man,
the hell, man, what were you doing?"
what were you? But sometimes you just feel like, "Oh yeah, that landed."
Mhm.
It's so funny that you say that, James, because what happens is that sometimes they'll come up to you and you think you sucked,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh my god, that was so powerful," and you're like, "What?" Go ahead, Shannon.
What?
I saw you were about to say something.
I was?
Yeah, you went like this.
No, I did not. I flipped my hair.
Oh, okay. I thought
Maybe
that
you
was
saw
like,
that.
okay.
I
I'm
was
about
like,
to say
that was
something.
not me. What
Let me
what
ask
did
you,
you
Shannon.
do?
Though, you do the readings a lot for your TikTok and for your channels. Do you feel like you've gotten better, or do you feel like you still need to do the little editing tricks?
That was the worst reading I've ever done.
And
I'm
we
dead
thought it was
ass.
great.
I'm dead ass. A lot of times I can do like my poems and stuff. That's just one take straight up, just because that's like emotion. That's just like easy peasy for me. But when it comes to like the other stuff, like when I'm doing my stuff for Paraflix and stuff like that, I do have a ton of takes in between. It's hard. And I think it's like pretty much what Leanna said. Like, you just have to stay focused. Clearly, I have a hard time doing that. So a lot of times it's hard for me because I'm doing my stuff outdoors.
Mhm.
And therefore there's like there was this like one video where I never even released it yet because it made me so angry. I went to like the quietest spot of the area. It was like a historical spot where John Andre was. Do you know who that is?
Mhm.
General Major Andre.
Mhm.
Okay, so he was friends with Mr. Arnold. And he was hung there. I can't say that. I don't know what to say there. So anyway, he was tried there and punished severely. And so doing that, and a ton of people kept like, just because I think I had like the camera there, wanted to interfere with it. And
Oh.
so it was hard for me to keep track that way. And sometimes you just have to take a step back, breathe. Sometimes you have to step away from it for a minute, come back.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just not working because that's not how it's meant to go. Like, you just have to change it up. Like, it's just not going to fit. You have to fix it. Sorry, that was a very long-winded.
No, that actually made perfect sense,
Sorry.
and I completely understand where you're coming from. And which is one of the great things. Like, it's funny. I feel like people watch us and what we do, and how we read our stuff, and then they'll sit there and going, "Oh, I can't do that." I'm like, "Oh, folks, it's hard." I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. It's hard, but it's something you do. Like, me reading in public is very difficult. There's just too much stimuli happening at the same time, so I have to focus and concentrate. That's why reading for you guys is so much easier, because I can read to the camera. That makes life so much easier. And if you watch me, you'll see me get distracted by things over here. So if you can imagine how that will be in public.
Controlled environments are so much more helpful.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you do want to get some practice under your belt about reading, doing so in a controlled environment where you feel like you're not going to be as interrupted, like Shanna was saying. But also too, I think that James had a good point about the idea of channeling. Sometimes if you kind of think of it being not just necessarily of you, if you think about like invoking something else, in some ways you can kind of get out of your own way in that regard. And you are the one that is doing the reading, but you're also stepping in and trying to call forth. I think it very much is like channeling and evoking. And that helps me think it's not just about me. It's about what I'm calling in.
I agree.
I think like public speaking, when I'm doing like public speaking, I used to get like terrified, and I would get like embarrassed really easily. And I realized like, why? What am I embarrassed about? Like, I'm up here doing something, I'm trying something. I'm, exposing my feelings, my thoughts, my work, my whatever. And that's not anything to be embarrassed about. I think that a lot of times you just gotta like step outside of your own subconscious and just let it flow.
Let it flow.
Let it
flow. Jesse, you did a reading recently in public with kids.
I did.
Ooh.
Paul was there. Paul so graciously that means a lot, man. That was really cool. Yes, we did that, and we did that.
How did it go? Because we're talking about this, and that wasn't your first time like reading in public, right?
It was fine. It was my first time reading, because like I grew up acting and on stage. And
I remember. Yeah,
that kind of stuff. So that part, I don't feel any type of way about that. It's like maybe you inflect your voice a little differently to like draw the crowd in. Sure. The weird part was it's reading. My book is a comic. It's not prose. So how do you do that in a public setting when like the main medium is visual? It's not so much spoken, and that was my biggest challenge. Is like definitely had to like add a lot more filler for like explaining some of the pictures for the kids, or like the sequential art that's happening. It's like, now this person's doing this. It's almost like giving the stage directions or the action lines in the script. So that ended up being a little bit of a crutch that I leaned on, is like saying a lot of things that weren't on the page. And yeah, it was weird. It was strange in that way, but it opened the door for something that might happen next year.
Ooh.
We might host like a formal reading of issues 1, 2, and 3 in a theater setting.
That's so cool.
Where I'm not reading it, because there are other characters. So we might actually like cast a small reading.
Oh,
I gotta say, Jeff, we did that for Mark Torres
fun.
from It Came From the Radio and his comic book. We did a radio play.
Oh, that's cool.
We
That's
actually
really
did it in the
cool.
theater. We actually did it in New York Comic Con. It was fantastic because you're now it's the comic come to life, but it's more set as a play, a radio play, and you're adding stuff to it. You're adding explanations to it. You're adding, because I know exactly what you're saying. Because they had to frame it differently in order to do the radio play.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's such a cool idea. We're playing with it right now with a producer in Jersey City, and we're figuring out how to put this up in like the spring or the summer. But it's going to require a little bit of a lift.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much reading I'll actually be doing in this, because it's.
Oh, Mark Torres he was the narrator.
That's probably
So you
where
do the little boxes.
Yeah.
Previously on. Meanwhile.
You say that, Jesse, but I thought what was great was, one, the kids were engaged, okay,
Yeah.
and then two, the owner of the barbershop was there showing the pictures while you were reading, and so you were adding color while the kids could see. So it's almost like a multi-sensory thing going on, because they could see the pictures, they could hear you. They don't necessarily need to read the words. So I thought it was very effective, to be honest. Being one person who viewed it, as an audience member. So I thought that was really cool.
Heck yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad that landed, and that.
I know the kids liked it.
Yeah, that's
All that matters.
really all that matters in the end. Did the kids have fun? did they get the wow at the end? Yeah, reading public is a lot of fun. I love live performance, live reading. Adding it to comics is strange and weird, and I don't say that in a bad way at all. It just opens my brain in like a different avenue and makes me want to figure out how to make that smoother.
I gotta say, as a kid, I would act out the comics. So
Yeah.
to me, it's like, yes, Batman. And then I gotta say, folks, if you want to practice this stuff and get heckled and a bunch of weird different stuff, is become a dungeon master. Because as you're trying to read your stuff, all these characters are doing whatever they're doing, and sometimes they're not paying attention or listening.
At all. What's
At all.
listening? What's listening?
So that will give you a lot of practice dealing with audiences, because audiences don't do well, good ones.
Right.
Cliff, I know you've done readings for your Christmas books, right?
For the Christmas books, just a long history of readings. I mean, 20 years teaching literature. So
I forget you're a teacher.
Yeah. So, my students countless times, oh, professor, you should be reading books on tape, which is always, always a high compliment. Someone actually asked me today, oh, are you going to read, when they do the audiobook of Death Never Lived, you think you'll do the reading for it? I think my voice is too mature now. Unless they maybe sped it up like 10%, so it's a little bit higher pitched. Because I don't think I can pull off these days, a 22-year-old. It's just not.
It'd be like a very deep-throated 22-year-old.
Yeah, and he's not.
He's very
confident. In my mind, he doesn't have a voice like you, Ralph.
No, he's very hip.
He doesn't have this.
Definitely a hip kid, so
this resonant baritone. He's it's.
He's delivering pizzas and doing money drops at the same time. So I did read it, Cliff. So just let you know.
It sounds like you did read it. And I thank you for that. I just it's just
you're coming from a place where you're already doing this. You're already in front of a class, and I gotta say, as a teacher, another one that's like the DM, you have to command the attention of the classroom. Because I've done teaching.
Well, I've done it in that setting. I used to do a lot of writers' conferences. Always did live readings there. Even back when I was in graduate school, there was some, thesis readings and stuff like that. So, there's a long history of it, and I love to do it. And everything people were saying about it, it's really about being in the moment. And and I think I forget who it was, James was saying, reading for your kids. And my son was hanging over my shoulder for about 20 minutes during.
I saw.
Shaking the chair. I'm like, but the one that we've
talk
been
about distractions.
Exactly, the one we've been doing recently. My daughter has taken a real interest in Fox and Socks by Dr. Seuss, which is talking about reading and challenges in reading to children. That's it's about as fun as it gets, to read that one. And then by the time you're basically need to take a nap by the end of it, and that whole sequence with the beetle battle in the bottle with the bubble and however it goes, it's but it's just brilliant and just so much fun to do it. And I guess at some point I'd love to be reading the new book to audiences, which I have not done yet. But yeah, I think at one point I did a live recording of the Christmas book of Cupid's Farewell Christmas.
I think Yummy agrees with you. Fox and Socks. I used to have my friends read that to my kids when he was little to watch them suffer.
Just to watch them suffer. When I think we had a box set, I think maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, of Dr. Seuss. It was like the only way to get green eggs and ham I think there was like no single books of it like in existence anymore. They're just, I don't know, they're sold out. So we bought the box, and Fox and Socks was one of the books, and I think I wound up going on YouTube or something and found out like people were like doing raps to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and it was like really good. I think there was one that was like an old woman doing a rap to Fox and Socks, like some like an old librarian. It's just like, wow.
I've seen a couple of those videos where they take oh my god, it's interesting to watch.
And I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's you just put a beat to it, and
Yeah.
it's Dr. Seuss. I mean, just super genius, and there's a beat.
Dr. Seuss is a rapper, yo.
Basically, and there was just sort of this natural beat to it. Whatever because he did all these different kinds of rhythms, built into the language, and so it's only natural that I guess 60 years later, whenever however many years later when he first wrote it, people are doing raps to it on YouTube. It's sort of the natural evolution of that book.
Love it. And folks, see, all readers here, you got to read your own stuff, folks. You're gonna write, you got to read.
For sure.
When you get good, you have somebody else read it. You go, hey, can you read that for me? Have the old Ralphie here.
Ralph, we've always talked about you being my Santa.
I gotta say, I've done a reading of Cupid's Last Christmas, Farewell Christmas. Cupid's Farewell Christmas. I've done a couple of readings of those. It's always fun.
Yeah, no, your voice is perfect for it.
I gotta say, that's because your Santa has a little bit of an attitude.
Which you embody it well.
That's mischief, pure mischief. That's just all me. Oh man, folks, I'm hoping you guys have enjoyed all the beautiful ghost stories and all the beautiful fun. Guys, starting with James, why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
I'm easy to find online. JamesChambersOnline.com is my website, and I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, although I'm not on Twitter that often, but Instagram is probably a good place to find me at Mothman1313. And you can also check out my books on my Amazon author page. I've got like a nifty little catalog of stuff I've contributed to or written over the years that they've compiled there.
Yeah, he does comic books too.
Yes, graphic novels, comics. Yeah.
That's how I knew James from before. I knew his comic work.
Yeah.
That's why when we first met him, I was like, I know you.
That's it. Well, and that's why I was listening to Jesse talk about his reading, and I was like, oh, I don't envy having to do that. I was like, I can't imagine trying to do a reading of a comic. That's great.
Yeah, I showed up thinking, oh, I'm just reading a book. It'll be fine. And
No, it's not.
Problem.
I've read comics before. No. Yeah, there's so much you got to do to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cliff. Tell the people where they can find you.
Well, CliffordEvan.com. You can find me, and Instagram. Well, that would be me. Half of my face.
That's so funny. I like how things fit in the screen.
Right.
Well, you can pull up the Instagram page. Oh, there I am. Hi.
You're high?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying hi.
I know, but I have to. I'm a dad. There goes the Instagram page for Clifford. He has a lot of beautiful videos there. Cliff makes some great, interesting stuff to show off his books.
Yeah, because there's some. Well, you can play it, Ralph, and I can speak
Hold on.
after.
Let's start from the beginning.
Well, now I have to read that because that is way too close to home.
Were you
That's
doing
awesome.
art and she came to life? Thank you. No, it's my publisher. He's one day he's like, because there's a tarot card reader, and she's as that little video says, she's psychic, and she has formidable powers, and I'm working on the second book now. But he said to me, he's like, oh, we should really just make a whole set of tarot cards of all the different characters.
I agree.
Yeah, and so there's like 3 of them there, 3 or 4 in that video, but on some of the other videos, there's a few more of them, and I think there's 12 altogether. But it's a whole lot of fun, but he keeps bothering me now. He's like, I'm not really going to push it until I know when book 2's coming out. So just putting the pressure on.
Right.
But it's a good pressure. It just makes me get up earlier in the morning.
Add it to the list.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Deadlines are good.
Well, he didn't give me a deadline, but every time I talk to him, which is about once a month, has book 2 coming? Has book 2? So it's just echoing in my head right now.
That's a good thing.
And book 2 she tells the story. So the first book, that one's sort of synopsis of it, what you see in the video, but she tells the story, and she kind of tells the story from the point. It's called Dream Girl, like the tarot card says. She tells the story from the point where he draws a picture of her, but by the time she gets it, he leaves it, but she's gone. He leaves it for her. So she's got to find him, kind of psychically. I think you were kind of talking about this a little bit, Liana. Just I forget the phrase you used about sort of the energy manifest in the art, and she kind of needs to find him, or at least starts to find him by sort of following that trail psychically. She's able to leave her body and astral travel. She kind of does that with the energy of the drawing in book 2. But it starts with that. Like, she gets this drawing in the mail, and she doesn't know who sent it to her. So it's not exactly a mystery, but it's a little bit of a mystery, at least early on, until she's sort of kind of catches the trail, so to speak. So so that's book 2, and book 1 is out, and after Christmas, because that's I've been just promoting the Christmas books for the last 2 months or so, because they're totally not viable.
Well, it makes sense. It's Christmas.
Exactly. I'm going to do a big push on A Death Never Lived. So,
all right, Liana,
if you're around on Instagram and stuff, it'll probably be in your face at some point.
Oh, definitely, folks. If you are on his Instagram, it's gonna pop up. It's a good thing. Go ahead, Liana.
So my full name, LianaReneeHeber.com, and also on Instagram at all 3 names as well. I use all 3 names because a very powerful psychic actually told me to use all 3 names. So that is why the spirits told me I needed to use all 3 names. And I write ghost stories, and so I do what the spirits tell me. So people are like, why didn't you take a pen name? I was like, well, because the spirits were very clear that I needed to write under my full name. So my latest book is called America's Most Gothic. It is nonfiction. It's all about haunted history through the lens of Gothic literature. And that's me running from my haunted house with a candelabra lit as God intended. I've had a blast with this book. And my co-author, Andrea James, is the founder of Burrows of the Dead, the ghost tour company that I work for. So I'm also a ghost tour guide in New York. Now we're going on hiatus for the next couple months because it's winter time, and there's only so much walking around the city we want to do in the winter time. But
it's easy for you during the Christmas time, right?
I mean, there's definitely we had Christmas ghosts up until right about now. So taking a break. And but yeah, so America's Most Gothic is available wherever books are sold. If you're curious about Not More Lovely Than Full of Glee, the story that I was reading, it's in A Winter's Tale, Horror Stories for the Yuletide. You can find that on pseudopod.org. If you just type in my last name, it will come up next to Poe. Which makes me really happy. It's just next to the love of my life there, just the reason for the season, Edgar Allan Poe. So yeah, and I'm on most social medias, but I'm trying to not be very active because I'm trying to get 3 books written in the next few months to do, much like Clifford was talking about. Okay, yes, I need to write book 2 in upcoming several different iterations of what's next. I've been taking so many
Breaks.
so much time for the nonfiction, and my fiction has kind of suffered in the meantime. And so
I gotta say, 'cause you've actually done these books like back to back almost.
I mean,
nonfiction ones.
Yes, and thankfully, the part of that is because they have sold well and they've been of interest to people, and I'm really, really excited. But they take a lot of time, and so there's been a few, there's been a couple years between, and the last full fiction release of a full length novel I had was back in 2020. So it is time for the fiction to come back to the fore. So the next several years, I will have new fiction out every year. So. But I need to make sure I'm finishing it so that the ones scheduled for 2027 is there, ready for it.
Yeah, folks, writing can be interesting.
Yes.
All right, Shannon, tell the people all the good stuff. Go for it.
Me?
Yes, you, Shannon.
You can find me on Instagram at @adream_within_a_scream. I am there. I share, sometimes poems, and lately mostly it's been my modeling stuff. I'm also on Facebook, Shannon Michelle 1L Collins, the Queen of Darkness, and same on TikTok. I am Paraflix's horror hostess with the ghostess. Paraflix is a streaming network catering to all paranormal things. It's podcast, movies, TV shows, talk shows, etc., etc. So it's constantly being updated. And if you're interested, please use my code QOD30 for 30% off.
See, that's folks. We even give you a nice little code there. Look, there you go, right there. Show it to you on the screen.
There it is. That's me. I liked that filter.
I have to say, I love my ghost stuff, and one of the things that's happened is that most of the channels aren't showing it anymore. So I'm happy that Paraflix is actually showing all the good stuff that we used to watch on all the other channels, and those other channels aren't showing it. Because I like a good ghost hunting.
I just like it. It shows a lot of different teams and a lot of different cool techniques that they try to communicate. A lot of different places that people might not have heard of that aren't so mainstream, which is great, that have great history. So it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I enjoyed it before I started to work with them, so that's why it's so easy for me to love them and promote them, because not only are they a great streaming service, but Natalie and Patty are just the sweetest, most kind, most generous people, and I really enjoy helping them grow.
We love Shannon here, her and her puppets.
Souls.
Go for it, Jesse.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys. Thank you for having me on, albeit a little late today. It's lovely to meet all of you. I think this is the first show I've been on where I don't know that many people besides Paul. I know Paul. Paul.
I'm an old habit that can't be shaken.
Hey, I don't wanna. I don't want to shake that one. Yeah, I am I'm the publisher at Art Punk Comics, and I'm the creator and mangaka, author, illustrator of our flagship title, Ashes of Eden. So I think Ralph is, you can find me on Instagram at Art Punk Comics. That's me reading to a bunch of kids when I thought It's not going to be a big deal to read a comic. Cool. But we had fun with it. And then, yeah, we do these all over New York City, Jersey City, just getting the word out about this little book of ours that's trying to punch up and fight the Archons. That's what it's all about. Ashes of Eden, baby. Yeah. Finding digging into a little bit of esoteric stuff. Don't let the name fool you. It's not just, it will, we will touch on some biblical things, but it takes place in a post-apocalyptic future where we've all been wiped clean from this mess, and the people that now are trying to figure out what happened to us. Well, where did we mess up? Where did we go wrong? Quite a bit of answers in that comic that we propose. But yeah, we have fun. We fight the Archons every day, but we're having fun doing it. And yeah, we're on the shelves of some stores. Those are the flagship characters right there. That's Ash. That's Eden. Yeah, it's a good time. If you like manga, if you like anime, if you like peeling back the secrets being hidden from us every day, it might be a fun book for you.
Just like a good story. What the heck? That's why I look at it.
We have fun with it, for sure.
You can even get a crystal.
You can even get a crystal. Yeah. It's only, oh my gosh, I might even have one here. Oops, I do. So I'll give you a little demo real quick. So if you purchase the Halon crystal from the shop, it acts as our season pass. If you take it, put it up to your phone, it's going to unlock the VIP digital library of Ashes of Eden. You actually get the first 5 issues before they ever go to print, before they ever go to Kickstarter, before they ever become physical. You are our VIP guest, and you get the first 5 or 6. I think it's 6 now. You're going to get the first 6 issues as they release over the next 2 years.
That's like magic. That's like
Yes.
magic.
I like every time he explains
That's
it.
so cool to your phone, and it did a thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm
That's
jealous.
super. Were you like? Did you have a past life in Atlantis or something?
That's cool.
Lemurian crystal.
Without even knowing it, you literally
That's
just
what-
kind of like dug up what the book is about.
Yeah, I mean that's like.
Spoiler.
I
Can
love
you-
Dolores Cannon, and she's talking like she like aggresses people to like back to Atlantis, and they're talking about crystals, and it's like
Yep.
here, it's like you're doing that. It's
Yeah.
like, jeez, that's
And that's kind
wild.
of with the character
Bravo.
cover is that this is the first time that they've done this, faced these entities. It's been going on since maybe that time.
I need one of those for the souls.
Exactly.
Just quick.
Collect
It makes it so
souls,
much
bro.
quicker. It's a lot of work to scrape it off a bone.
Don't make her soul gathering easier.
I would
Exactly.
like one of them. That was really cool. I
You're
like that.
doomed.
So different.
That was very-
cool.
Totally cool.
Holy shnikes.
And the crystal's really important to the story too.
That's so cool.
That's what I like about it is the fact that it's not something frivolous.
Right, yeah.
I really
It
want
ties
that.
in. It ties into the whole point. Our archaeologist friend, his name's Ash. He's this little guy. This guy right here. His name's Ash. There's some apps in front of his face, but don't mind that. Ash goes digging for these crystals all over the snowy wasteland that he lives in with his dad. And these crystals power their towns and keep their villages alive. They keep the fire on in the winter because they live in a perpetual winter. But one day, a dig goes horribly wrong, and Ash unearths Eden, a girl from a forgotten civilization. So now Ash and Eden have to team up, and when they come together, they realize they awaken this ability in each other. To hear a voice inside the crystals that no one else can hear. So everyone's been burning these crystals for energy, but there's something else inside them. So they have to start kind of peeling back the lies of what they've been told this world is before a shadowy society erases their past for good.
Wow.
So that's Ashes of Eden.
That's so cool.
Love it. Love it.
I like that.
We just put up our we only do it a couple of times a year because usually we're on Kickstarter with the book. But right now we're not. But we just put up a pre-order on our digital store for issue 2 that should be coming out end of January. So in just about a month, issue 2 will come out, and then I immediately go into production on issue 3.
Are you going to have different crystals throughout the thing for different things?
Good question.
We're playing
Yeah.
with that idea because
Do
right, this one gives you issues 1 through 5 or 6, but we're talking about producing something where you can like collect different crystals that unlock different things.
Side
Ooh.
quests,
Yes.
side stories. Hell
Yes.
yeah.
Roll for initiative. Oh, wait.
I'm sorry, I got very excited for you. Very excited.
You got me excited. And that's why I'm like, roll for initiative. Then everybody's going to die. I mean,
Yeah, thanks
Paul
for-
Hebert, it is your turn. Tell the people all the good stuff. Go for it.
I reluctantly participated in a blood sacrifice to the great Exacto God today. And it's Christmas, so I'm putting gifts together. So anyway, that's why I hold my finger up. It's not my middle finger, don't worry. I'm not ripping anybody off. But I am trying to keep it all because it was a good slice. But anyway,
Aw.
Time Enforcers is a role-playing video game, digital comic that makes learning history fun. It's an idea that I got coming out of COVID. I really wanted to gamify the whole learning experience for kids. And issue 1 or episode 1 is now available for download on pretty much every device that you can think of: Mac, PC, iOS, and Android. It's a couple bucks. It's really cool. I've gotten really good reviews from it, and I am fervently working on episode 2 as we speak. So I'm very excited about this program. I just want to make it grow as much as I can and as quick as I can. And I'm just expanding into new realms. I'm now, in addition to doing the video game for episode 2, I am coinciding at the same time as the video game development. I'm actually doing a graphic novel of both episodes 1 and 2. So hopefully I have a hardcover along with the game, because if I have to make movies, I got to create art. So I might as well create art and do a graphic novel at the same time. So it's kind of cool. I'm pretty excited about it. It's really tying in a lot of great historical figures that I think kids really aren't learning about, and it provides an opportunity for them to get eyes on it and hopefully inspire them to do great things themselves. That's really the whole point of what I'm looking to do with this whole program, is get kids interested in learning so that they can go and do great things on their own, which is my ultimate goal.
Yeah,
That's
I love it.
exciting, Paul. I'm really stoked to hear that there's a graphic novel coming up.
Yeah, and I've been working on it, Jesse, and it's just like I'm having so much fun now. I mean, I'm tying in so many different elements from my experience with film and, comic books, and just having a blast. I mean, what's great about this platform, it's time, and it's blowing time up, and so I'm just having a blast doing it. I'm having a great time. I'm just love it. And I just, all the characters.
Help, folks. Get him some money.
Oh yeah. I have a fundraiser going on now at Fractured Atlas. I keep forgetting to say that, but I'm accepting any kind of donation. It doesn't matter how much. I mean, everything that's donated is greatly appreciated. We're at the almost $300 mark. If I can raise $1,000, Fractured Atlas will then help us raise nonprofit grants from like the National Endowment for the Arts. So I'm really looking to expand the education program for this project, really get it into the schools, either charter schools, home schools, district schools, wherever. Get kids in learning, excited to learn about history through gamification. I really feel that, if you get them that premise, it's going to teach them skills beyond just learning history. It's, active learning. It's, has everything to do with just everyday skill sets that they need moving forward into this world, because everyone's got a phone, which is great, but I think we've really walked away from pen and paper, which is just as important in my mind.
Yeah.
So just really bringing back the basics, the whole about, what's important for education. So
I gotta say, man, the
if I can jump in,
creativity
the
that
kids love the swag too.
Oh, that definitely.
yeah, I mean, I'll be doing the Garden State Comic Fest in Sussex County in January.
That's
So
How are you, Blake?
got even more swag coming, and trying to get more T-shirts going. And it's just not enough money, but that's okay. I'll do what I can.
It's all over our refrigerator, Paul.
I love it. Thanks, Cliff. I love it.
Oh yeah,
Pictures are great displays.
Paul gives them great swag, man. I'm telling you, folks, you need to go to a con and get some stuff from him.
No one can stop me. My kids say, "Dad, you have to wear that all the time." I said, "Yes, I have to wear it all the time. I'm the one promoting this thing. I have to wear it all the time."
That's
I gotta
awesome.
say, it's a great message. Even if it is the villain, it is a great message.
Oh, it's great.
Nothing can stop me.
It's all about inspiring kids to do great things. That's really the whole point of this. This is what I'm looking to do ultimately, and have a blast doing it. I mean, what the heck? I mean, blowing up time as we know it. Gotta love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he makes some great characters. Like let me show one off. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I had such a great voiceover talent for this guy. It was great.
Hold on. Let's share this and then put this and then.
Now that one's cut short. Do the other one. Don't do the reel. Go back, Raphael.
1947.
Go back. Close that one. Don't do the reel. Yeah, do that one.
There we go.
That's better.
Los Angeles, the city of angels, 1947. The war's over, but the streets still feel like they're fighting somewhere. Something sinister. Air steak with the whiz from Pan's 24, all you can eat blue plate special, hot asphalt and bad intentions. Neon signs buzz and flicker, casting purple and green halos into the puddles. Ripples that shift the wrong way, like the streets casting reflections of someone or something that should not belong here. That's where you'll find me, Nick of Time, detective, time enforcer, and the guy they call when history's about to get itself into a knot. Some folks say I'm as tough as a $2 steak, and they're not wrong. But I've got a soft spot for the ones worth saving, the lost souls, the underdogs, the ones who never got their fair shake. I've chased crooks down back alleys, across oceans, and through centuries, and I've learned one thing. Time's got teeth. Bite the wrong way, and it'll chew you up quick and spit you right back out. But me, I keep my rules close, my friends closer, and my watch wound tight. Because in this city, and in this job, if you're not watching the clock, you're already out of time.
I've only seen that like 500 times, but the way Raphael nailed, I'm as tough as a $2 steak, and this job, I get chills every freaking time. I just love it. You did such a great job with that, Ralph. I just love it. Yeah, it's all awesome.
Robert Stack and Rod Serling made a baby.
Yeah.
I gotta say, folks,
That's so on
I love noir. So throw me some noir and you'll get some stuff.
Well, I'll be tapping you more because this is just a start, my friend. Nick is going to be in episode 2, so his gumshoe debilitator is going to be spitting out blobs of bubble gum at the bad guys to stop
Oh
them.
man, I love the weapon, the gumshoe debilitator. All right, folks. I hope that you have loved all this, and I'm gonna, I gotta say that I feel like I want to continue, so I'm gonna leave you wanting more. So pay attention for a release of my third part, Krampus story, and I'm also gonna release some other people doing their Christmas stories. So look out for that.
That's so cool. Can't wait.
And if you want to hear the first 2 parts of the Krampus story, check out James Chambers' Galactic
Terrors,
There
Galactic
you
Terrors. Yes.
where I read 2 of the stories in preparation for tonight. Well, that and they're on TikTok, and on TikTok you got to go find them. Oh my God, folks! I hope you enjoy your Christmas. This is our last show of the year, and that's why it is a long show. Figured it was going to be at least 2 hours, and we're at 2:20. So, but we've had a blast, and I have questions I still want to ask. So that's how I know it's time to go, because I want to leave you guys wanting more. And folks, on this show, when it ends, I press the button, and where it stops,